to you.
Jay.
The lift's at the other end of the building, by the way.
Wow. That is a big disco ball.
It is. It's about a metre diameter. That came from an old nightclub in Lancaster many years ago. And yeah, it's normally on a bigger event, this whole wall here folds away and it's one big open space. And I think the license is for about 1,100 people in total that we can cater for. So we have a charity that runs it, and they put on events, and they vary from all different genres. We have wrestling on here, they're goth events and various music events. So yeah. So this is really the only bit of the building that's been restored. So we've replicated the original ceiling. We've put new plaster cornicing around the building and copied the design from the original ceiling.
Incredible view.
It's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Yeah, really good. The fire was in 1970. I think they considered demolishing it and then realised it was structurally in pretty good condition. So they saved what they could and they turned it into, I think, Inn on the Bay, and then it was a Carlton nightclub. That's the original sign from the Carlton that you see there.
So is there like a proper theatre space?
Not really, because the main room, there's now a suspended ceiling, so it probably cuts it in half, really. There's a lot more space above, but we can have a look at that from upstairs.
Is this the top floor?
This is the main floor that would have been the theatre, and then it would have been opened up right up to the roof. But again, they've put the suspended ceiling in, so it's kind of covered. You've probably lost about 2/3 of the height of the room. But we'll go upstairs and you can actually have a look down, and you'll see the main space.
I see you've got the customary trolley.
The trolley, yeah, the home base one this time. There we go.
Customer's trolley.
Yeah.
This,
a dodgy handrail.
Dodgy, curvy handrail.
Okay. So again, this was part of the original mosaic tiled entrance. Again, it was all covered over with screed and carpet. So we've cleaned that off and restored it. Originally as well, I think there was a white marble staircase. I've scraped a bit of paint off in the past, and that would appear to be marble. Unfortunately, on the other side of it, they've removed it to put the lift in. So it's gone. Ooh. There we go. So, yep, this staircase, I think in its day would have been incredible, all white marble. But unfortunately now, after the refurbishment, they put a lift in and lost a lot of it. But still a lot of it is, isn't it? But anyway, there's still a lot of it left.
You can see the light shining down, which we're going to show you in the film The Entertainer.
Ooh.
So these, I'll put my torch on my phone. So this is one of the old arc lights from when it was a theatre. And these were actually located in the roof space. And I think they date from maybe the 1930s or 40s.
What's that then? I don't even know what that is.
That, basically, it's got an arc light. If you've heard of arc welding, so it's a little bit like arc welding, it had a very bright light. And there's a mirror here. The kind of element would have been through here with another one pointing this way, and it strikes an arc, really high voltage, a lot of current, that's reflected through the lens right down the end with different coloured filters onto the stage. But you can see the really heavy duty piece of kit. And then if we can turn it, I don't know if we can turn it around a little bit. No, I can't. But you can actually see on the back of it, you've got all the controls, and I think it's the Strand is the manufacturer of it.
You can see all the little window, little things.
Very bright white light shining through, and then they'd have different coloured papers that would filter, give you the different coloured lights. And there seem to be various different things left in it, but it's kind of nice. It all sort of works, and the handles still turn a little bit and move, and yeah. So I guess you can focus on the stage. And there were 2 of these. There's another one somewhere, but you can't actually get to it.
And that little hole there, will that be like your welding mask then?
Absolutely correct.
Looking through.
That's it. That's it.
Look through like that. Little punch thing. Opens. Oh, bit rusty.
That's all right.
Opens. What will you be doing with these old lights?
Nothing.
Ah.
I'm just literally going to leave them as they are. I think if you restored them, you'd lose the character. So to me,
Do you
just
not like
leave
just
them
put
as they
them
are.
somewhere on display?
I think we will eventually, but not for now. Not for now. Just I think they need to stay in the building because they've been here a long time. They've probably been here, I don't know, maybe 70, 80 years.
Maybe they're on holiday.
Well,
They might want to get out, you know.
well,
They've been
maybe.
in here for so long. They want to go see the world.
They're in Morecambe. They're on holiday already. There you go. Well, this isn't really. I think when they converted it into a nightclub, this was like a little stage area with a DJ booth here. You can see the old DJ booth.
A red light.
That's it. Yeah, I guess it was because they didn't want bright white lights. There's a lot of red glass. This is near the back of the building towards the fly tower, so we can actually head up that staircase. It's a lighting rigging, really. Okay, we'll head up here and then.
Taking over. So are these like old letter signboard things?
I guess they are, but I don't think they're all there, and I'm not actually sure what they spell out because there's an E there, so that can't be. Well, maybe it's the Alhambra, and we're missing a few letters.
There's a little box thing there.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. I think they're just for ventilation, so they actually open. I think that's probably seized up, but I think they just allow ventilation through.
And you got all your old wallpaper.
Lovely, coming back in fashion. And a lot of grey paintwork, which is again back in fashion.
Old dressing rooms.
That's it. So old dressing rooms that would have led onto the stage. The door going down to your left is the route onto the stage.
Is this the actual stage area?
It would have originally been. The stage would have probably been, I guess, about the height of the ceiling tiles on the lower section here. You can see right over there where it says, I think, no smoking. That would have been one of the stage entrances from the side of the stage. And then if you look up, you've got all the timber work and the gantries here. There would have been probably 20 more people working backstage with the sets and the, I think they call them the flats, which is the kind of the scenery. And there would have been loads of ropes hanging down from pulleys, and they would have lifted the various scenery up and down.
I mean, it's just such a shame, isn't it?
And then the opening here that's been boarded up, that was the original stage opening onto the main room.
I suppose if there wasn't a fire, do you reckon it'd still be in a theatre now?
It might have been, but not sure. Not sure whether there would have been enough. There's already the Winter Gardens in Morecambe, so I'm not sure there would have been enough demand for 2 theatres. But yeah, it is a shame.
I mean, I love theatres, so I'm just like...
Yeah, and on the wall, the brick wall over there, a lot of the stagehands have actually signed the names and the dates, going back to the 40s and 50s.
Here's the stage in its former glory. Now I'm going to show you the upper deck where all the stagehands used to work. Now, due to me being small and young, I was not allowed up there, so now I'm going to hand you over to Ian.
I think this is scenery that predates the fire, so it must be earlier than 1970. And it's just been left up here. Unfortunately, we've had pigeons in, and I guess the top few layers are totally damaged and ruined. But you can kind of see the outline here of a part of a train with the funnel, like an old, I guess, tank engine, bit of a tree. But yeah, it would have been amazing to one day maybe have a look at these and see what there is. But you can see the paint, it's kind of chipping away, and they're not particularly in very good condition. But I'm a lot heavier than you, so yeah. Are you okay? So there would have been probably 20 to 30 stagehands working here. You can see some of the ropes, and if you look up, there's loads of pulleys, and I say all the stage scenery would have been hoisted up and down. And if you look over here on the wall, you can see where a lot of the stagehands have signed the names with the dates. Some of them seem to go as far back as the 1950s. Can't really read them all, but it's kind of quite nice. They're all over the wall, all the way here. In fact, there's one that looks like 1914 now, but I'm not sure it is. But it'd be lovely to record them all at some stage and see who they were. 1951, 1965, another 1965. But yeah, the number of people that must have worked up here, it's incredible. And this whole wall is covered. I think there's a 1947 there. Yeah. Yeah. If I've just seen one up there that looks like it's 1st of October 1917. Can you see that one? Quite high up.
Yeah.
There's Nelson, and just below it, 11017. Yeah. And I don't know what this is. It must have been some sort of winch, possibly for the fire curtain, because I think the fire curtains were made of steel. In fact, the big runners here you can see to the left. There's one on each side of the stage, and I think they were the runners for the fire curtain that would have gone all the way down. I guess the ropes that are left and all the cleats, I think you call them, that they would have tied I guess when it pulled the scenery up and down, they would have somehow secured them on all these. And there's a few of them left. You would. It's just reinforcing for the stage opening. So if you think of an arch, that's quite a wide opening. An arch would give you a lot stronger support than just a row of brickwork. That was filmed in around about 1960 with Laurence Olivier, and then around about 10 years later, obviously they had the fire. So it would be lovely to think some of this scenery dated to when the entertainer was here. But I think a lot of it is probably reused. You can see this part here. This is the shape of I guess a man or a goblin. In fact, you can see a green cellophane or something. So they must have had a light behind it to make it look like some ghoul with green eyes. And then they've obviously reused the bit of scenery and put something else on the front of it again. Yeah. Right.
What are those? These little things here?
They are sort of cast iron decorations that would have been on the roof terraces. And there's kind of a balustrade, and they were part of it, but I think they're that far gone, they've either fallen out or been removed.
And you know, I mean, you do a lot of this sort of stuff, getting buildings and getting back to their glory. How excited do you get when you get a new building, you look around it? Do you get all like excited?
Yeah,
like, oh, look at this, look at that.
I do. Well, I know, even coming back in this one now, it's, you know, you always see something you've never seen before, you know, so it's, yeah, I do. I enjoy it. But I love seeing them brought back to life, you know, and it's sometimes repurposed, but as long as they're not knocked down, that's the thing I hate, seeing these old buildings being knocked down.
It's brilliant touches, like that little thing inside the corner, just so many things. It's just brilliant little touches.
Yeah.
And you said roof terrace. Can we see the roof terrace?
We can. If you head down there and up, straight up again. Good.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Oh, gee. I would keep saying G, but I mean literally, it's
See
like
what I mean?
wow,
Walking up and down, and you know, before the show.
getting all the pressures off.
Indeed.
Wow,
So you get a lovely view from here.
you certainly do. They don't know they're being watched.
Very few people look up, don't they? Have you noticed? You know, when you're on the street, very rarely do people. I do because I like looking at the buildings, but
Well, I think if it's a nice, lovely building, I'll look up. I mean, I do look up a lot, but I mean, if it's a street that I've already been.
phrase "the seating in the gods," I think is what they say. But these were the seating that would have gone all the way back up to the top wall. You can see the remains of it all charred. So this kind of I think is where the fire happened originally. The two arc lights that we saw earlier on were just here behind the wall here. There was a little kind of concrete bunker. That's where they were located, and then they would have shone all the way down. If you turn 180 degrees, you can see the other side of the stage opening that we saw before. Yep, you just see that in the background. But if you imagine this space with the floor below as just one big open space, it must have been amazing. And it was all covered in decorative plasterwork. There was a balcony that went all the way around as well.
This is the other side to the big room we were just in with the stone artwork. So impressive in here. I mean, you can just imagine when people on the stage and all the crowds and stuff. I mean, it's such a shame about the fire because I'd love to have seen it inside its former glory. It's such an amazing building. And you can see originally where there was arches, but it's all been blocked up now and mended. And years ago, you might have been able to walk straight through, so from one terrace to the other.
Is an old film reel. So at some point it was used as cinema as well. So that's an old film reel that we found. And these are what we found where the arc lights were. So that and that would be what would produce the arc. So I guess that's copper with something on it. And this, I guess, is like a carbon rod, but the whatever gap and however many volts would have produced the really bright white light. But yeah, we found all those in the room when we unfortunately had to demolish it because it wasn't safe. But yeah. Oh, there you go.
See,
Very good. Well done.
See all over the rooftops. It's like a red building over there, and you see the trees just hovering over, and the windmills. When I said windmills, I feel what they're called then. The lovely sea. Thank you so much for letting me look around this glorious building. It's been a wonderful day. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Nice to meet you. All the best.
Bye.
Okay.